You can't just wait for the ball. You have to play like a hunting dog, actively seeking out the ball as your prey. Don't be a house dog waiting to be fed, those are just training drills. Many amateur players have unstable strokes because they try to generate power too early in the swing, which leads to many errors. So let's talk about how to generate power correctly. For example, let me demonstrate a shot. Can you produce this crisp sound of impact? Now listen to this one. That's the sound of brushing the ball to create spin. The problem for many amateurs is that the ball doesn't seem to penetrate the rubber and engage the blade before bouncing off. Many of you have probably never felt the ball bottom out on the blade. This isn't an issue with your equipment, it's an issue with your technique. When you learn to engage the blade, it's like you can feel the ball directly with your hand. If you don't, you're just swinging the paddle without any real feel or connection to the ball. Ultimately, high-level table tennis is all about feel, which is the most controllable factor for amateur players. You can't compete with younger players on stamina, and footwork is difficult to train. The easiest thing to develop right now is your feel for the ball. Once you develop that feel, controlling power, spin, trajectory, and shot depth becomes second nature. First, let's address how to generate force. The sound of your impact is the key to synchronizing your power. Generating power should feel effortless, not tense or uncomfortable. Beginners, or those who can't generate power, often apply too much force during the backswing. During your backswing, try to grip the paddle with only 30% of your strength. Don't grip it too tightly, a stiff grip will prevent you from generating any real power. The problem is when the force and speed of your backswing are identical to your forward swing. That's incorrect. Think of it this way, your backswing should be completely relaxed, but your forward swing should be explosive like a 100-meter sprint. The contrast should be huge. Even when my motion is fast, my hand stays relaxed. The goal of the backswing isn't to be slow, it's to be loose. Even at this speed, I am completely relaxed. Speed doesn't require tension, you can be both fast and relaxed. Why do amateurs struggle to serve with heavy spin? It's the same issue, there's no change in speed between the backswing and the contact. The force is constant, so the spin is weak. Watch a typical amateur serve, all effort, but no spin. Now watch me, relax, then accelerate. The difference is enormous. We always emphasize the relationship between relaxation and tension. Don't just focus on the moment of impact. The feeling of relaxation is gripping at 30% during the backswing, which allows you to accelerate explosively into the ball. That's how you generate power. Let me show you. Watch my state. Relax. Explode. Relax. Explode. You must first have this explosive burst of power. It's the key to the quality of your follow-through shots. You need to master both brushing for spin and this forward impact to drive the ball deep. That's how you develop a quality loop and forehand. Why are your shots easy to defend? Because they travel at a constant speed. Our shots accelerate from slow to a speed of 100 on impact, while yours are at a constant 50. Why is your technique flawed? It's because you're missing either relaxation, acceleration, or snap, a braking action at the end of your swing. If you can master these three elements, the quality of your shots will increase dramatically, even if your form isn't perfect. Now for our second key point, you need to synchronize your power with the ball. Some amateurs still rush their shots, making contact only after their arm has nearly finished its motion. The other mistake is waiting until the ball is almost on top of you before you even start your swing. Let me give you a guide for judging distance. But remember, it's not set in stone. You need at least a racket and a half's distance between your paddle and the ball at the start of your swing. If the ball is here, your backswing needs to be here to effectively transfer power. If the ball is deep near the end line, then your hand needs to be back here. You must create the space. Why? Because after the ball bounces, it will travel away from the table, and you still need to move forward to meet it. So, creating a distance of 1 full arm's length is not an exaggeration at all. The problem with amateurs now is the ball is here, and their paddle is way too close. For instance, against a deep serve, if I stand here, you can see how I get jammed. But if I create an arm's length of space, with my paddle back by my shoulder for a deep ball, see how if I contact the ball here for a deep shot, I have enough time and space to execute my stroke and generate power? Why do players stand too close and get jammed? Because at the beginner level, opponents return the ball very short. If you stand back, you can't reach it, so you develop the habit of crowding the table. As you improve and opponents play deeper, your old habit leaves you no time to react. And on the other hand, once you're accustomed to playing deep balls, you'll find that when you play a beginner again, their shots will seem too short and weak for you to reach. You can't just wait for the ball. You have to play like a hunting dog, actively seeking out the ball as your prey. Don't be a house dog waiting to be fed, those are just training drills. In a real match, the ball comes from everywhere, so you must learn to adjust your distance. In a match, read your opponent. If he consistently hits deep balls, then I will take a step back on every shot, maintain that arm's length distance, and I'll be able to time my shots perfectly. If your opponent has a softer game, you don't need to back up. If you do, you won't reach the short balls. You have to anticipate if his push will be half long or deep. Is it a high ball or a heavy backspin ball? On a topspin ball, does he tend to drive it hard, or does he prefer to block softly? For example, if he pushes short, I should move in after my serve to avoid an unforced error. If he counterdrives my topspin, then after I loop his backspin return, I need to step back to prepare for his powerful shot. You cannot play every shot from the same position. For example, if your opponent's first push is always very strong and deep, but his second shot in a rally is always a soft block, you should step back to loop the first ball, then immediately move forward for the short ball. It's simple, it's just a matter of being a step forward or a step back. The stroke mechanics remain the same, but your positioning changes. At a critical point, like 9-9, a common amateur mistake is to get pushed back after a serve return and stay there, out of position. At 9-9, you must be ready for soft balls because your opponent is more likely to play conservatively. For example, against your side spin, topspin, he'll just soft block it back, and against your backspin, he'll go for a safer, high spin loop, and even his pushes are more likely to pop up slightly or land half long. You have to anticipate this, it's human nature under pressure. This is a high probability play. So, at critical moments, anticipate the soft ball. At the beginning of the match, expect the aggressive shot. At the start of a game, there's no pressure, so everyone tries to play with maximum quality. At crucial points, everyone plays conservatively. When I was young, I'd serve a deep side spin at a key moment, and I could never block my opponent's loop. I thought my block was weak, but really, she was just playing it safe with more spin. Therefore, you must master your distance to the ball. For short balls, which are anything that would bounce twice on the table, your foot must step into the table area. For a half-long ball that bounces once near the edge, you cannot retreat. You must hold your ground at the baseline and create that arm's length of space. This applies to topspin rallies as well. You must contact the ball at this distance, otherwise you won't reach it. If your opponent's shots are consistently deep, you can't just create one arm's length of space, because you'll get jammed on your backswing. This is true for both forehand and backhand. Essentially, there are only 3 types of ball placements to deal with: short, half-long, and deep. The only other variable is the height. For short balls, always remember to step in with your feet. Handle half-long balls close to the table. Handle deep balls from mid-distance or slightly further back. At a minimum, for a deep backspin ball, you need an arm's length of distance. For a deep topspin ball, you need nearly a meter of space. What I'm teaching today applies to your attacking game. Defense is a different story. For defense, I can stand close to the table for everything. You must learn your opponent's patterns. For instance, if you serve topspin, carefully observe if all his returns land deep. If so, take a small step back after you serve. If you don't, you'll be jammed and hit the ball into the net. Now, look for another pattern. After I serve side spin underspin, where does he push the ball? If it's half-long, then you cannot retreat after serving. We're focusing on the forehand side today. Don't apply this directly to the backhand, as the positioning is different. One is struck beside your body, the other in front. Once you reach a certain level, your technique becomes fixed. Improvement then comes from making these adjustments I've just mentioned. After mastering adjustments, the next level of improvement is awareness. You must analyze your own strengths and your opponent's weaknesses during a match to improve your tactical ability. Beginners work on technique. Intermediate players work on adjustments. Advanced players work on tactical awareness.